Hey, Miss Hellman, wait for me to say that we're ready to roll here, okay? It's not bad. So,
Yeah, no pitching.
oh man, power go off. Hey Nathan, why not turn this power on here, man? Oh, I got it. Not needed.
If the JV team smooth out.
Easy.
Good morning and welcome to Senior Speeches for the Class of 2021. Our first speaker today is Ben Penn.
Today is the day I've been dreading since I heard the first senior speech 4 years ago. Freshman Ben was petrified of the idea of speaking to the entire high school, friends, and family. 4 years later, we've decreased the audience by 75%, but still not much has changed. I'm a relatively quiet person, so when it came to writing my senior speech, I thought to myself how I could use as few words as possible, but still meet this graduation requirement. Then the perfect idea came to mind, Mr. Travis's $2 summaries. Those of you who have not had the joys of Mr. Travis's American History class, the $2 summary may be new. The instructions are simple. Each word is worth 10 cents, and you are given $2 to summarize a reading, article, or document. As always, please use a different colored font to answer the questions. Unfortunately, there is no intriguing novel or play to summarize, like in Mr. Travis's class. Instead, I decided to summarize each of my years at collegiate, meaning altogether, after 13 years at this wonderful school, my hard work, memories, and stories account for a grand total of 26 whole dollars. The assignment starts in kindergarten. A start to the new world of school. Nap time, building blocks, kindergarten derby, and no homework. Life was good. First grade. Fun events with senior buddies and the strict teaching of Miss Hardesty. Hoops cards and homework, a harbinger of future years. Moving on to 6th grade. A fresh start in middle school. Coach John Arnold's straw hat and clipboard meant the beginning of Titan soccer. 7th grade. The awkward math class of Miss Prince. A field trip to the City Museum in St. Louis. Yale beat Baylor. 8th grade. A final year in middle school and the thought of new schools for myself and my peers. Stay or go. 9th grade. New faces and friends in the high school, as well as constant fear of Dean of Students, Molly Prince. 10th grade. 11th grade. The best week ever at Manual Stadium. Messing around with Davis Commons, and then the struggles of a global pandemic. 12th grade. The last hurrah under new circumstances. Online learning, one-way hallways, and masks, but still new memories to be made together. It's crazy to think that only 13 short years ago, I was dropped off at Collegiate for the first time. Those 13 years have gone by so fast that I am thankful that Collegiate has given me a spot to express myself, do the things I love, find my people, and make memories I will carry with me forever. Everyone in the collegiate community has done so much for me and made my time here so incredibly special. I want to offer an extra thank you to some people. First off, my friends. Although you all make the boring, mundane school life enjoyable and unpredictable. Whether it be spikeball games in the senior tent or baseball in the Davis Commons, make every day unique and always find a way to make me laugh. My teachers. Although my class participation may sometimes seem minimal, I genuinely enjoy class and am thankful for the effort and time we put into making each student feel special. Woes, T-Bone, Cole, and even Frank, thank you for pushing me to become a better player in person. You have taught me so much during practices and games. My favorite part of collegiate soccer will always be the stories and jokes you share after practice. My parents, thank you for your constant love and support in everything I do. You're always my biggest fans, and I'll miss you so much next year. Now, If any of the underclassmen are miraculously listening to this speech, projected on an advisory whiteboard with suspect audio, and want to take anything meaningful away from it, it would be this. Don't waste your high school experience on homework and papers. Yes, they are essential, and it is good to put in a solid effort, but not at the expense of your happiness and well-being. Go cheer on your friends at the game, fans are allowed. Go to homecoming, if it happens, and enjoy all the little things this wonderful school has to offer, because at the end of the day, that is what you will remember, not the paper you spent hours perfecting. Enjoy the unexpected snow days that postponed your senior speech, the lunch table arguments separated by a plexiglass wall, or rants with Mr. Carr in Sports Analysis Club. Enjoy the early mornings in Ms. Page's office. Enjoy Dr. Sal's reading voice. Enjoy being so confused in math class that you don't even know where to begin asking questions. Enjoy Q-Ball games with Ms. Crawford's advisory. Enjoy rushing to finish last night's homework 5 minutes before class. Enjoy the crossing guard that every morning says have a good day, and on Fridays it's have a good weekend. Enjoy the people, enjoy the events, and enjoy every second of however long you get to spend at local collegiate school. After recapping each of my 13 years here at Collegiate, I'd like to think that all the time, memories, and friendships would be worth a little more than $26, but I'll leave that to the grading Mr. Travis. Thank you.
Our next speaker today is Nathan Quinn.
Give us a second.
After yet another tiring day of elementary school, my room at home seemed so far away. As I glanced out the passenger seat window of my dad's dark gray Toyota Camry, I drifted into thought. Suddenly, a resounding bass line returned me to the present. My foot began to tap as I turned backwards toward the middle console, wondering what song had been powerful enough to snap me out of my after-school trance. The song in question was Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. The lyrics and sound held my interest in a way that was different from common everyday words. To put it simply, I was hooked. Looking back, the drums and guitar riffs echoing through the car were just the tip of the iceberg of what would become my biggest obsession and escape. My love for music started small. As a child, I listened to anything and everything my parents listened to. At the time, this consisted of the radio and a generous collection of CDs. Understandably, my dad's CD sleeves were chock full of classic rock with a sprinkle of hip hop. However, the vibe in my mom's car was noticeably different. Whether it be 2000s pop, R&B, or soul, it seemed like she always had a relaxing song for the occasion. Over time, I began to develop a musical taste of my own. Eventually, this eclectic palette of different radio stations and CDs was replaced by my first iPod. The small, square, airbrushed shade of orange similar to a ripe mango was everything I ever wanted. As time went on, I began to recognize that there was something uniquely special about music. Everywhere I went, the movies, restaurants, sporting events, and even the store, I was always listening to the array of sounds around me, trying to discern some meaning from them. Little did I know, this meaning would come years down the line from a somewhat unexpected source. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. When I was younger, I watched Willy Wonka relatively frequently. I knew all the characters and the plot in detail. But what kept me coming back was the music. The movie soundtrack is jam-packed with classics, including The Candyman, Oompa Loompa. But the standout among all these has to be Gene Wilder's Pure Imagination. An uplifting ensemble of instruments complements the inspirational lyrics as Willy Wonka introduces guests to the chocolate room. I was awestruck by the enormous edible gummy bears and lollipops, but that wasn't what stuck with me most in the long run. Flash forward almost 10 years after my first viewing of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was deep in the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by 9 of my favorite people in the world. Little did I know that I was about to remember why I love music so much. I awoke with a start to the beeping of my alarm. I lifted my wrist and glanced at my watch face. The big glowing hands read 2:45 a.m. I sat up and groaned as I thought about the challenge to come. It was the last day of our first expedition, and we had big ambitions. As I shoveled warm oatmeal into my mouth, the daunting task ahead of us loomed in my head. Finally, around 30 minutes after my watch ended its final beat, our cluster of tired teenagers began the climb. The first hour went by quickly enough. All of us were unfazed between the mostly level ground and high energy levels. However, this soon changed as fatigue set in, and the moon started to drift below the horizon to make room for the sun. Jacob, the leader of our group, seemed to notice the shift and realized that our spirits needed to be lifted if we were going to maintain our momentum. Suddenly, I heard his whistle pierce through the cold morning air and direct me into my memories. I recognized the tune immediately. It was none other than pure imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. At that moment, my childhood came flooding back to me, and my lips began humming the notes in step with Jacob's whistling. Soon enough, we were all humming together, and the chorus of the song began to resonate with me. Wilder sings, "If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it." That was the moment I realized the real power of music. Not only did it have the capability to unite our group against adversity, but it also made our noses temporarily forget that none of us had bathed for upwards of 2 weeks. The point being, music alone isn't inherently special, but it most definitely can act as a catalyst for the most transcendent emotions. The emotions none of us know how to describe or process, music can help us understand. This is because music is a spiritual phenomenon at its best. It's like staring at the constellations in a clear night sky, or into the abyss of the Grand Canyon. It's a fundamentally human phenomenon because music is very accessible. You don't have to be overly intellectual to be moved by a language that everyone knows, yet no one understands. In my eyes, the power of music is too potent to be ignored. Music amplifies even the strongest emotions while allowing you to cherish those moments that would otherwise go unnoticed. As I mentioned before, the accessibility of music is unparalleled. We can create tunes with our lips or beats with our hands on demand. Music brings clarity when seemingly nothing else can, light when surrounded in darkness, and joy to even the happiest of people. Thanks to music, you will always have a healing harmony, motivational melody, or replenishing rhyme right around the corner. Music gives all of us an ample reminder of how satisfying life can be. So my advice to you all would be to remember Willy Wonka's words. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Thank you.
Our final speaker today is Light Bank.
So this is the right order. Rodrigo Blankenship, standing 6'1", 183 pounds, and still rocking the stylish rec specs. He's an elite athlete playing at the highest level of competitive football. Yep, he's a kicker in the NFL. As most of you might know, I love football, but that's not what this speech is about today, nor why I think Rodrigo is a 10. I have the utmost respect for this man because he spent the night of the NFL draft building Legos. Like Rodrigo, I'm in the business of constructing Legos. But don't worry, it's not that lame. They're Star Wars Legos. You know, the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, the cool stuff. For a great deal of time, I tried to keep my enjoyment under wraps. That was until 7th grade. It's not like I came in on the first day and screamed, "I play with Legos!" It was more of a gradual admission by pursuing my interests. It started within the first week. I was having a discussion with Mr. Beasley about his AT-AT Lego set. which led me to joining his Lego club during activities period. Being in a club with fellow students that were willing to spend 45 minutes a week playing with Legos allowed me to feel comfortable and not have to hide my passion. If there's anything I've learned from meeting more and more people, is that each and every person has something that they're passionate about. And sometimes this passion makes us consider them a little bit off, a little weird. It could be a hobby, interest, or even an obsession. Whether they're open about this or desperately trying to conceal it, that thought is sitting in the back of their head right now. This knowledge has resulted in a lot of self-reflection. Well, maybe not a lot, but as much as any teenager reflects. I now realize that my number of quote, obsessions is far greater than that of the average person. For example, during middle school, I had one of my most public instances of exposing my weird side. It was a record-setting day for me on March 14th. As my fellow mathematicians and mathletes in the crowd know, March 14th, it's Pi Day. Each year, collegiate holds a competition to see who can recite the most digits of pi. After being best the previous year, my competitive spirit kicked in. Now, I would elaborate on my competitive nature. However, anyone who's seen me compete at anything at all, and I mean at all, knows that it would take an entirely different speech just to scratch the surface of that problem. I digress. Let's get back to the pi reciting contest that I know you're all dying to hear about. Here we go. I had 202 digits of pi locked in my head. It was go time. Ready for this? 3.1. I'm not going to do that. Skip a couple hundred minutes. Boom. Champion. Very exciting stuff. Who wouldn't want to waste their weekend studying pi for some extra credit and get a chance to have their name on the plaque? Which I would like to point out has still not happened. But that's just me. That's the weirdo I am. I'm willing to spend time studying for a nearly pointless competition, one that revolves around a weird imaginary number that helps us with surface. And for those of you concerned about whether I defended my title the following year, yes, but only because I'm not counting the ringer they brought in and dropped 400 digits on my head. It does not matter that she was a fourth grader. She can wait until she gets in the Now, for those of you keeping score at home, you're probably thinking, he's only got two really weird things about himself. I mean, yeah, they're way strange, but it's only two. Well, there's also my unhealthy obsession with the Ravens, my secret love of cooking, not to mention the hand spasms, the lightsaber battles, my music taste in general, and the fact that I'm still friends with Bailey. I mean, the list just keeps going on. And I'm sure you'd love to hear about each and every one. But unfortunately, I do actually have to give some time for a moral lesson. All I have to say is, feel free to be yourself. If you're not appreciated for that, how can you genuinely be appreciated for anything? Anything else? I know that that's something I heard several times, but didn't take it to heart. So feel free to forget it as soon as you walk out that door. Just know it's something that can actually help you. Stay weird, LCS.
I'll probably come for fun. Can you stay?